Oh yeah, I'm totally muted. I'm mostly just getting excited because it's lots of people I love on this call. Hey guys. But yeah, I'm still muted. So I'm gonna keep pushing buttons for another minute. Yeah, what up? Hey girl. I'm so excited. All right, so I'm gonna push buttons for like another 5 minutes, okay? And then we'll start. You are technically being live streamed on YouTube at this moment. So you're pretty, you should, yay. But if you don't want, just turn your camera off and then your face will not be anywhere. That's totally fine, I get it. Oh my gosh, it's lots of people I love though. Okay, I'm gonna keep myself on mute and then I will be starting in about 5 minutes. Maybe 4, Jewish Standard Time. Okay, just so you guys can all understand exactly what's happening in my house right now. My kid just blew up, I don't know if you can see it, a stress ball. So my entire house is now covered in flour. So, you know, I was not kidding with the whole Elul for the rest of us. Check this out. I am now covered in flour for the beginning of this class. Yeah. We're technical up in here. Okay. Yeah. I look at all these people that I love so much are on this call, and I am so pumped about it. Hi, guys. Oh my gosh. Hi. Okay. What? Okay. Oh my gosh. People from long times ago too. Hello. Okay, I apparently have to hit the button to let everybody in. I didn't know that. So now I know. Okay. Yeah, like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Go make yourself a coffee. Go put on sweatpants. You should be comfy for this. Okay? Like, you should be comfy. We're going to learn some Torah, but this is comfy Torah. This is Elul for the rest of us. So I'm wearing sweatpants. You'd never know. But I am. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, we should definitely get the cat out of the room. Hi, Naomi from Sherry. What up, girl? This is so fun. Oh my gosh. Hi, guys. I'm like so excited. Oh, just have to keep pushing the button. Okay, Yala, 1 minute. 1 minute. Get a nice coffee. Get a Diet Pepsi. Get a Diet Coke. Get a beer. Get a glass of wine. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 10 o'clock here. All right. 5, 4. Did you take Graham Leah to Daddy so you could talk to her? Okay, great. Fantastic. 3. Yeah, no, I'm not on mute. They're listening to this mindlessness, unfortunately, poor things. Okay, let's go. All right. So it is the month of Elul, Mazal Tov. We have week in Elul already so far, which is fantastic. It's amazing. But I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like Elul comes, like it's after vacations here in Israel. So I'm running, and then it's like Elul, but it's also like the start of school and the start of SEM and like life, and all of these things are coming at me at the same time. And all of a sudden I realize it's like a week to Rosh Hashanah and I forgot to Elul. I don't like even though I teach this and that like my life is revolved around Torah and Baruch Hashem, I'm blessed, but like it's very hard for me to get into the space of Elul because life is just really busy and life is just really coming at us all the time. So I really wanted to do was Elul for the rest of us. Elul with practical guidelines, something that you can grab onto, something that is not beautiful, deep concepts. I love beautiful, deep concepts, but let's do something where we have actionable things that we can start right now to make this Elul one where we go into Rosh Hashanah ready. I read something really beautiful as I was preparing for this year, the idea that Rosh Hashanah is a celebration of the completion of the preparation of Elul. That Rosh Hashanah isn't showing up and now it's time to go. Rosh Hashanah is the celebration of all the work that we did in Elul. So I loved that idea. So let's do the Elul work so that when we get to Rosh Hashanah, it's a time for celebration. Okay, great. So here we go. How do we understand what the essence of Elul is? So there's a concept in the Torah that says that if you want to know what something means at its deepest root, you have to go to the very first place it's mentioned in the Torah. Okay. So interestingly enough, Elul is not mentioned in the Torah. Okay, Elul is not, the word Elul does not occur in the 5 books of Moshe anywhere. It is mentioned once in Tanakh. However, it is alluded to in several places. So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be looking at the different places that Elul is alluded to in the Torah and the one place that it is specifically mentioned in Tanakh. Okay, so it is alluded to in the Torah in 3 different places, and it's specifically mentioned in Nehemiah. Okay, so the 2 places we first see it is in Bereshit, and the 3rd place we see it is in Shemot, and the last place we see it where it's specifically mentioned is in Nehemiah. So where's the first place that the Torah alludes to Elul? The first place that the Torah alludes to Elul is right at the very beginning, okay? The creation of the world, according to the Gemara and according to Vayikra Rabbah, according to Rabbi Eliezer's opinion, the creation of the world began on the 25th of Elul. The 25th of Elul is when the creation of the world began. And then if you count the days from that, the 6th day of creation, being also the day that humanity was created, falls out on Rosh Hashanah. Humanity was created on Rosh Hashanah. It's also the day that we sinned. It's also the day that we were forgiven. So just as they were judged and forgiven on Rosh Hashanah, says the Midrash, so also they will be judged and forgiven on every generation. So from the very first sin, Rosh Hashanah has been a day of judging, but judging with mercy. Beautiful. But according to this counting, Elul, the 25th of Elul, Kaf He Elul, is the date that God said, let there be light. Now, obviously, we know that the first 3 days of creation are not 24-hour days because there wasn't a sun, but there's a concept here that the Midrash is trying to build, is that Elul is the beginning of the creation that cumulates, there we go, on Rosh Hashanah. So I think we have to stop here for a minute, because if Elul is all about creation, what kind of creation should we be doing? I feel like it'd be easy to understand being like, oh my gosh, we need to like recreate ourselves. But actually, you have to know what kind of creation the Torah is talking about. If you open up at the very beginning of the Torah, it says, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning of God's creating, is how Rashi translates that. God made the heavens and the earth, comma. It's not actually a period, it's a comma. Why is it a comma? Because the second pasuk comes to fill in the rest of it. The second verse comes and fills in the rest of it. Ve'aretz hayta tov v'vo, v'choshech al pnei tachom, v'ruach Elokim merachfefet al pnei hamayim. And the world was disorder, chaos, hubbala bubbala. It was a mess. It was tov v'vo. It was desolation. It was a giant mess. And there was darkness, and the spirit of Hashem was floating over the depths on the water. Okay, so when we open our story of creation, there's stuff here. There's water, there's darkness, there's chaos,
There's the depths. There is stuff here. The Genesis story, the Bereshit story, doesn't actually start from zero. It starts from stuff and taking stuff and forming it into a world. It goes from taking potential and forming it into the world. The Or HaChaim talks about this. He says, when God created the universe and everything contained in it, he did so with a single utterance. Stuff. And then from that which was created, he started forming the world from that which created. Ramban calls this the Elul. It was this matter, literally matter. God created in one utterance matter. And then from that matter, he began to form other things. So big bang, big, bleh. It wasn't a big bang that banged itself. It was God said bang. And then there was stuff. And that stuff started getting formed. And what the Or HaChaim says is that what was actually created in the 6 days of creation was order. Everything, the potential for everything was created on that first day. But what happens during the 6 days of Bereshit, as we know them, is Hashem is putting order into his universe. He's making organization, and from organization comes life, comes land, comes animals, comes plants, comes the world that we know, not starting from zero, but starting from something into organization. He gives a mashal for this. He says, it's like when you're going to build a house, okay? The first step to building a house is you get stones, and you get wood, and you get dirt, and you get the materials to build the house. Okay, and then you build the house. So Hashem, what he did is first he created all of the materials to build the world in one single utterance. And then afterwards, he starts putting everything where it goes and building the world from there. Okay, so why is this so important? And why am I mentioning this in an Elul share and not in a Bereshit share? First off, because I'm obsessed with Bereshit and I talk about it way too much. Second is because this is what Elul's about, guys. Elul, the creation of the world, the creation of you, because Adam Olam Katan, humanity is a small world. We're all a world unto ourselves. So what is your job in your creation? What is your job in Elul? It's not to start from nothing. Nobody starts from nothing. Everybody starts from something. You were created. You were created with all of this incredible, amazing potential within you. You were created with these gifts, these abilities, these things that you're really good at. You were also created with your struggles, with your challenges, with your unique mental health cocktail, with who you are. You were created with stuff. You were, God said, and let there be Rivka, and let there be Faggy, and let there be Barbara, and let there be this person. But then after you get all of that potential, what your job is as a creator of yourself through the choices that you make is to take that potential and turn it into an entire world. And so what you have to do is first, what's the first thing Shem created? I don't know. Can you guys talk to me? Can you chat? Is there like a chatty chat? Chat. I don't know. Okay. What's the first thing Shem made? Light. Let there be light. The first thing you got to do is turn on the inspiration. If you want to create a beautiful world, if you want to create something, let there be light. The first step is turn on the light. Second step, make some separations. Third step, separate and bring things together. The creation of the world is our guidelines for how we create ourselves. Start with knowing your potential. Start with knowing what you're working with. I always tell people the most important part about growth is self-knowledge. Know who you are. Know what you're really good at. Know what you are really bad at. My daughter is going into high school. I have been reminded I am terrible at math. Absolutely terrible. Literally, it's embarrassing. Cannot add fractions. Okay? You know what? The Holy One, blessed be He, did not give me math. It's okay. I have other things. I have other potential. I have other challenges. But knowing yourself is always going to be the first step of growth. It's kind of like if Hashem is asking you to build something and there's bricks and there's mortar, chances are you're not building a water slide. Okay. Why? Because you don't have the right materials for it. You are who you are. You were created by a Kadosh Baruch Hu to be who you are. So work with what you've got. But in order to work with what you've got, in order to build from that potential, you got to know what the potential is. So step one in Elul, get to know yourself. What potential do I have? What are my best points? Where do I have tohu vavohu in my life? Where is there chaos? Where do I have confusion? Where am I feeling darkness? Where am I feeling a tahom? Where am I feeling like a depth? Get to know yourself. And it's not, one of the most important things is the parts of you that you don't like, you will never change by hating. You can only love yourself into better. You have to accept who you are with all of the warts and bumps. Because really, they're not warts and bumps. Like if I was good at math, I'd probably be an engineer and I wouldn't be on a Zoom or whatever this is. I wouldn't be on a Google Meet right now talking about Elul. I'd be somebody else. Like it's okay that I'm not great at math. I have other things about me. I have to accept who I am. So first thing is, let's get to know our potential. I want to grow in Elul. Who am I? Detail yourself, get to know yourself. Okay. Now, the second place in the Torah that mentions Elul without mentioning Elul, which is coming to us from the Oral Torah. First place is the creation of the world, 25th of Elul. God began the process of creation. The second place that we see, if this was class, I'd ask you, but I can't, so here we go. The second place that we see it is, oh, there's balloons. I don't know why there's balloons. Why did balloons just happen? Did I make balloons? Someone made, how did that happen? Okay. Oh. Nope, no more balloons. I don't know what happened. Did anyone else see the balloons? Am I hallucinating the balloons?
Yeah, I saw them.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I don't know. All right, here's the second place that we see it. Noach. Noach. Wait, I yell it. How is Elul in Noach? Okay, great. So you actually know that the flood took a year, right? 40 days and 40 nights. That was only the rainfall. Okay, the flood actually begins, the Mabul begins on the 17th of Cheshvan, okay? 17th of Mar Cheshvan, the flood begins. It lasts for an entire calendar year, 12 months, okay? So what happens in Elul? In Elul is when Noach, on Rosh Chodesh Av, so a month before, okay, the tops of the mountains start poking out of the water. So the water's here and the mountain tops are poking out. Okay, 40 days after Noach sees the beginning of the mountaintops, he starts doing this really interesting process where he starts sending these birds. Okay, he opens up the window of the teva and he starts sending these birds out. Okay, the first bird he sends out is the raven. Okay, so he sends the raven out, and the job of the raven was to like fly around and try to find dry land. Okay. So the raven flaps out of the teva and immediately does like 2 circles around the teva, comes back and it's like, I don't know, I didn't say anything. And Noah's like, I don't even think you tried, dude. And the raven's like, well, why are you sending me out of the teva to look for dry land? Because last I checked, Hashem doesn't really like me. By the way, this is straight quoting the Gemara. Hashem doesn't really like me very much, so he only brought 2 ravens on this boat. So if I die, my wife can't have any raven babies, and so then there will be no more ravens. So I feel like you're trying to like exterminate my species. And the second thing, he's like, and maybe, Noach, actually, you keep wanting me to leave my wife alone. You're interested in Mrs. Raven? You like Mrs. Raven there? Is that what you're trying to do here, Noach? You're trying to get with my wife? And Noach's literally like, what? You're a bird. What? Okay, what's the deal with the raven story? The deal with the raven story is the idea of zelo fail. In Hebrew, there's no actual word for fair, which I always tell my children, but zelo fail, it's not fair. Okay, it's the idea of giving when it's not fair. The raven is like, no, I'm not going to put myself at risk. I'm not going to risk myself or my marriage or anything for you or anyone else. Zelo fail, I don't have to do it. I don't have to do this for someone else. So this is in complete opposite of what the whole point of the teva was. You ever wondered why Hashem made like the greatest show on earth, but in a boat? Like, why did we have to have the floating zoo? There's lots of opinions that say that Eretz Israel wasn't even underwater during the Mabul. So they could have just put all the animals there. Why does Noah have to go on a floating zoo? Why does that need to happen? That doesn't even make sense. So Rav Dessler talks about this. And what Rav Dessler says is that the reason that Hashem put Noah and his family in the teva with all of these animals was so that they'd have to take care of them. Why? Well, what was the sin of the people before the Mabul? Hamas. And yes, somebody should have Googled that before they named their organization. Hamas means corruption in Hebrew, specifically stealing for no absolute purpose and not seeing other people around you as humanity. Hamas. But anyway, so the idea here is that people couldn't give to one another. People were incredibly egotistical and incredibly selfish. That was the sin of the generation right before the Mabul. They did everything wrong, but that was the final straw. That was the thing that Hashem was like, that's it. I'm wiping this place out. I can't work with people who don't care about each other. So what did he do? He put Noah and his family on a boat with a bunch of animals so that they would have to constantly be giving and taking care of these animals for an entire year. Okay? The destruction of the world was Hamas, motivated by people's ego. To become builders of the new world, Noah and his family had to work on themselves, cultivating each within them the opposite trait of Hamas. And the opposite trait of Hamas is chesed, is giving. It's the opposite of taking what you think is yours, but rather giving from what you have. Noah had to take care of these animals that weren't even going to say thank you for the entire time of this ark trip, of this horrible cruise, right? The idea was he was giving and giving and giving and giving so that we could build a world, olam b'chesed yivneh, a world on chesed would be built. And in Elul, if we really think about it, we don't want fair. Anachnu lo rotzim fail. We don't want exactly what we deserve. Because at least Ayelet El Nakave, and I'm probably no one else on this call, but Ayelet El Nakave is totally not perfect. And I have done some really lame stuff. I have not been as kind as I could be. I've not been as thoughtful as I could be. I've definitely done some stuff. And if I got back exactly what I deserved, Mida keneged mida, the idea of what you put out is what you get back, is beautiful when we talk about the good things that we did. And it's a little scary when we talk about the bad things that we did. Like I should get someone being impatient with me every time I was impatient. Someone should yell at me every time that I yelled at someone. Even worse, I should be judged for those terrible moments with no forgiveness. We don't want that kind of justice right now. In Elul, we're looking for rachamim. We're looking for mercy. We're looking for chesed. So how do we get more chesed? How do we get God to look at us with rachamim and look at us with forgiveness and look at us, not mida keneged mida, but just like, oh, you tried. We all have those days. How do we get that kind of energy? By putting that kind of energy into the world. How do we get Hashem to be patient with us and to give to us? By being patient with other people and giving to other people. What you put out is what you get back. So now that we've had the raven as like the symbol of the ego and as the symbol of me to like exactly what I put out is what I get back. Like I'm only doing for me. I'm out here for me. Now dove rolls up. And Noah takes the dove and he puts the dove out and the dove flies and the dove flies and the dove flies and she can't find anywhere to do menucha. Okay, the specific word is Vishlach et Yonah mi'ito v'lirot kal ha'mayim me'al pnei adama v'lo matza hayonah manoach. And the bird, the dove, did not find manoach, did not find this concept of menucha. Okay, so what's menucha? Usually we translate it as rest, right? That's a manoach, right? The idea of manoach, rest, menucha, rest. Okay, except that's not what the word means. How do I know that's not what the word means? Because we use the word nach for Hashem. Vanach b'yom hashvi'i, and Hashem rested on the seventh day. But Hashem doesn't get tired. So if Hashem doesn't get tired, then Hashem can't be resting the same way we're resting. So then what does menucha mean? Okay, what Rav Hirsch says is that menucha isn't rest. It is the feeling of accomplishment after doing something difficult. How beautiful. The feeling of accomplishment after doing something difficult. So that's what you're supposed to be doing on Shabbat. On Shabbat, it's not about resting in that like you should go into a coma and like sleep for 24 hours. Neve. Y'all should wake up occasionally. And you don't sleep for 24 hours. Y'all just sleep in between the meals, right? But like you should actually be awake on Shabbat. It's not just the shliffy. Like Shabbos shliffy, I have no problem with. A little shliffy is all good for everybody. But like it's not the idea of rest, like I'm tired, I need to rest. It's the idea of that feeling of accomplishment when you finished something. That's menucha. That's what it's the idea of I've done this effort and I've gotten to this place, and this is the feeling of this feeling of everything is done, this feeling and joy of completion. And that's what Hashem had, is this feeling of completion because he completed the entire world. There was nothing left to do. It was menucha. It was nach. He finished everything and there was nothing left to do. Menucha is about completion. It's not about being comfortable. It's about accomplishment. I'm going to say that again. Menucha isn't about being comfortable. It's about accomplishment. It's about having worked hard for something, and then there's pleasure that happens when you feel that, when you get there. Okay? Anybody who's graduated anything ever. Okay? You're like, you throw the hat up in the air and try not to take out somebody's eyeball. Okay? And you're like, wow. Okay? If somebody came up and was like, we'd like you to write a chem report, you'd be like, absolutely not, because I'm done. Right? And then you pay off your student loans for the next 25 years. Anyway, but the idea is that you're done. Okay? That's what we're supposed to feel on Shabbat. We light the candles and we're done. Whatever's done is done. The lights are left on. Okay. The cholent didn't get turned on. Okay. Whatever's done is done, and whatever isn't, isn't. And I'm done. And the week is over. And look what I've accomplished. Look where I've gotten to. Look who I am this week. That's the feeling of menucha. So what the dove couldn't find was the feeling of accomplishment. Why? Because she had been flapping, but she didn't get anywhere. There was nowhere to land. So she comes back to Noach and she's like, I can't. I flapped. I did not get to the end. I didn't find anything. Okay. So then he waits 7 days and then he sends the dove out again. And the dove flies around and comes back with an olive branch. Okay. Comes back with an olive branch, which by the way is the most bitter of the plants. It's not tasty. Okay. The dove comes back with an olive branch, but it's a symbol of that the land has started to appear, that the trees have started to appear, that there's somewhere to go. Which is fascinating if you think about it. If there's an olive branch, what does that mean? It means that Miss Dove could have stopped. Girl, she had a tree. You should just go, look, it's like my fake tree. Like Mrs. Dove could like be in the tree. There's where to land. But instead she comes back and she brings Noach an olive branch. Why? To give him hope. To know that the flood is ending, that God's wrath is ending, that the world is coming back. The dove makes sure before she takes her exit, before she goes off to live her life, she comes back to give that feeling of accomplishment to Noach. To tell Noach, by the way, his name comes from the same word, menucha. Okay? She comes back to give him that symbol that the new life has begun. By the way, the dove with the olive branch is an international symbol of peace, because it's the idea of coming and telling someone that the new beginning has started, a beginning of peace, a beginning of joy, a beginning of life. Okay? And then 3 days later, he sends the dove out for the last time, and she doesn't return. And the day that the dove doesn't return is Rosh Hashanah. The day that the dove doesn't come back is Rosh Hashanah. So what's the message with Elul here? Is the message with Elul is we start out seeing ego, what ego does. Ego doesn't do anything. That's the 10th of Elul. Throw it out. The 17th of Elul, the dove goes out and tries to go and find a place, but she can't because the work's not done yet. Another 7 days, and then on the 24th of Elul, the dove flies back and brings back a symbol, gives Noach a gift of giving, of hope. And then on the 1st of Tishrei, she flies away. to begin her new life. So what's the message for us with all these birds? I mean, fascinating. So there's 3 things that we know that annul heavy decrees on Rosh Hashanah. Oh, right, you can't talk. Teshuvah, tefillah, tzedakah, ovrim et roa gezerah. Okay, there's 3 things that we should be doing. Teshuvah, tefillah, utzedakah. So I'm going to talk about them in reverse order because I can. Tzedakah is the first one. Tzedakah is, in the month of Elul, we need to learn to give. We need to go beyond the measure of the law. We don't need to measure our lives by ze fail or ze lo fail. Okay, what we need to do is go beyond ourselves. We need to stretch, and we need to stretch in our ability to give. Okay, again, menucha isn't about being comfortable. It's about feeling the feeling of I've done hard work. I've done something, I've created something, and I feel a sense of accomplishment. I'll never forget when I was in SAM, they had a Shoah survivor come in and speak to us. And she said a line that had stayed with me since. She said, if you want to work on your self-esteem, do for others. Give to others. Because when you feel good about yourself because you've given to others, it's real. You really did something, and there's pleasure in that. There's a joy in that. Like, I think it's beautiful, the idea that tzedakah is usually money. And I think you know that. But tzedakah doesn't have to be money. It has to be from tzedek, from righteousness. And so it can be chesed. Chesed and tzedakah are the same. They're very, very similar. They're related. Chesed slightly greater according to the Gemara. But like, okay, so you don't have so much money. First off, give what you do have. It says that 2 beggars together should exchange coins. So at least we're people of giving. Okay, but like, if you don't have so much money, give of your time. Give of your patience. Give of your smile. Give of yourself to the people around us. What we have to do in order for Elul to be a month where when we get to Rosh Hashanah, Hashem says, oh, you're here. I'm so happy. I have so many good things for you. I have so much to give you, is we have to first start being people who give. Mida keneged mida, guys. If we want rachamim, if we want love, and if we want chesed, then we've got to be out here with rachamim and love and chesed. We have to look and give to the people around us. And it's super fascinating because if you know the tefillah of Rosh Hashanah, okay, we actually talk about Noach, and it's kind of random. Like if you're reading the Rosh Hashanah, like Machzor, all of a sudden there's like a shout out to Noach in the middle, and you're kind of like, of all the people? Okay, like Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and okay, Noach. Like why Noach? Okay, it happens right in Musaf, okay, in Rosh Hashanah, Musaf, that's the really long one. Okay, there's 3 sections, Malchuyot, Zichronot, Ushofarot. Okay, so we talk about Noach right in the middle of Zichronot. We talk about Noach right in the middle of the Musaf, after the Malchuyot, but before we get to the Shofarot. So the question is like, why Noach? And so I read this really fascinating thing, which Rav Moshe Lichtenstein says. And he says that that mention of Noach is actually a key point in the Musaf. Because what it talks about is, up until then, it's Malchuyot, kingship. And Zichronot, it's very strict justice. God runs the world. God judges humanity. God can give us what we deserve. But then, as soon as Musaf talks about Noach, it flips. And it goes into a place of rachamim. And it goes into a place of mercy. And it goes in a place of compassion. Well, why? Because Noach was a man of compassion. Noach remembered the animals. Noach took care of the animals. Noach took care of the world. And Noach created a new world on Hesed. And so if we want to flip the dialogue from one of strict justice to one of mercy and loving kindness, be someone who gives. I think it was beautiful. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he talks about the fact that these birds were sent out in Elul, he says, Elul is a window. Just like Noach opened a window, it's a window into our soul. And so when we open that window, what are we trying to bring in, and what are we trying to send out into the world? Well, what we should be trying to bring in is love and kindness. And what we should be trying to put out into the world is also love and kindness. So how do we work on Elul? Tachlis, practical. Where can you be giving? Where can you find a place where you can give more this month? Where can you find someone has a need and fill that need for them? Where can you go beyond what is fair and give as Hashem gives? Without the idea of getting paid back, without the idea of this is what the megia lem, lo megia lem, where can you be someone who's more giving this month? Even if it starts with just carrying a bag of coins in your pocket and handing out money when you see someone in need, just to give. What if they don't deserve it? Worried about that later. It's Elul. Be a giver this month, okay? Somebody hits you up for one of those, I don't know, cost match 900,012, okay? Give high, guys. Give $18. You got $18? Don't spend it on Amazon. Give some money there. Give us some tzedakah this month. Okay? Find somebody who's going through something and give them an extra smile. Ask somebody out for coffee. Be a giver. Donate time. Find a mom the week before Rosh Hashanah and offer to literally do anything. Okay? Why? Because we're about to go through Tishrei. Okay? Like, we're going to have to, like, make simanim and, like, find wave money around the head and then, like, you wash the kettle and where's the kettle? Like, you've got a girl who's starting college, send her a gift basket. Like, find a couple pencils and, like, a marker and, like, Hashem loves you. Good luck this year. Okay? You've got somebody who's new at SEM, smile at the new girl. Even if she's only going to be here a week. Okay? Look at your neighbor who's a little bit lonely. Can you invite her? Like, where can we be giving? That's the first step this month in Elul. Elul for the rest of us. Let's figure out, where can I give more this month? Okay, moving forward. The third place that we see Elul in the Torah. So we've seen Elul in the Torah 2 places already. First, in the creation of the world. So we got to get to know our own potential. Second, we've seen it with Noah and his birds. So it's about giving. It's about tzedakah. It's about taking care of other people. Number 3, where do we see it? Moshe. Moshe goes up the mountain for the 3rd time on Rosh Chodesh Elul. Very quickly. Once upon a time, we got the Torah. Moshe goes up the mountain for 40 days after we get the Torah to get the details. Okay? Moshe comes down the mountain after 40 days and had to egel. We're throwing a rave. There's an egel. People are sinning. Moshe smashes the luchot. There's a little bit of a plague. The Levi'im kill some people. Some people drink some water and blow up. It's kind of a moment. Okay. And then the people are like, oh, we really screwed up. Moshe goes back up the mountain for 40 days to beg God not to destroy the people. After 40 days, Hashem's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to destroy them, but relationship's over. I'm going to send an angel, like the special thing. Okay. Moshe comes back down. People are like, no. Please beg for more. Please beg for the relationship. Please beg for him to forgive us all the way. Moshe goes back up the mountain the 3rd time. Okay, he goes up on Rosh Chodesh Elul the 3rd time. He comes down 40 days later because it's 3 times of 40 days each. So he comes down Yom Kippur. Rosh Chodesh Elul to Yom Kippur is 40 days. Okay, meaning that God forgave us on Yom Kippur. That's why Yom Kippur became Yom Kippur, because it's the day that God forgives us. Okay, so what happened during this 40 days that he's up the mountain the 3rd time? Okay, number 1 is he gets the new luchot. Remember, he smashed the tablets over here, so we make some new ones. This time carved by Moshe, but still luchot, okay? But the other thing that happens is this really mystical, fascinating moment where Moshe's basically like, hey, could I, like, see you a little bit? And Hashem's like, nobody can see me and live. And he's like, oh. And Hashem's like, okay, here's what's going to happen. Okay. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, hew for yourself 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I will inscribe on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. I love Hashem. Sounds like a Jewish mom. Listen, you broke them, but I'll write new ones for you. Okay. And then be prepared for the morning. In the morning you shall ascend Har Sinai and stand before me on the top of the mountain. No one should ascend with you, okay? Nor should anybody be anywhere near that mountain. There shouldn't even be sheep or cattle grazing in that direction, okay? And so Moshe hewed the 2 stone tablets, just like the first one. Moshe arose early in the morning, ascended Har Sinai, as Hashem had commanded him, and he took the 2 stone tablets in his hand. And Hashem descended in a cloud and stood with him there, and he called out, and he said, and this is when Moshe gets Yud Gimel Midos Rachamim, okay? The 13 attributes of mercy. Okay, Hashem, Kel, Rachum, Bechanum, Erech Apayim, yeah, okay. This is something that we say
all the time in Elul. Okay, if you are Sephardi party, li 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 li. First off, hello. We love all the Jews. Sephardi party, we are out here with Selichot and Elul, meaning that we start saying the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim from Rosh Chodesh Elul, day after Rosh Chodesh Elul. We start with Selichot, where we repeat these. So why do we keep repeating these? I mean, like, it's nice, but why? Okay, so this is from the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. It says, and Hashem passed before him and proclaimed. Rabbi Yochanan said, were it not explicitly written in the verse, it would be impossible for us to say something like this. Why? Because it teaches that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, wrapped himself as in a talus, like the Shaliach Tzibor, like the leader of the prayer, and showed Moshe the order of this prayer. And what he said to him was, whenever the Jewish people sin, let them act for me in accordance with this, and I will forgive them. What? So if we get a Shaliach Tzibor to wrap himself in a talus and say Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, Hashem's going to forgive us? That's incredible. That's like a real hack. That's like somebody make a YouTube video, like life hack. You want to get forgiven? Get a Shaliach Tzibor with the talus and the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. That's incredible. How could that be true? Well, first off, one of the commentaries says it's not just reading it, it's internalizing it. Okay, if you guys want to internalize the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, check out Tomer Devorah. It's the idea of the different characteristics of God that we can learn on one foot. The too long didn't read, okay? Basically, be a lot more patient and forgiving and loving of the people around you. God puts up with a lot from us. We should put up with more from one another without complaint. We should be patient with people. We should be understanding with people. We should be forgiving of people, just like Hashem is with us. That's basically on one foot. But there's also a literal concept of that these words have power. They have power to open up rachamim for Bnei Yisrael, to open up mercy, to open up love. So really what Hashem is teaching Moshe as he's standing on this mountain is the power of tefillah, is the power of prayer. So go back to those three things that change the gezerah, that change our decree. Teshuvah, tefillah, tzedakah. We're now over here. We're on tefillah. Tefillah changes things. And Elul is a month of tefillah. Elul is a month of praying. I mean, honestly, just for Selichot, Sfardim, we're adding tefillot. Our Ashkenazi brethren will get with us in 2 weeks. Okay, we add extra Tehillim. We show up extra for services. Like, Elul's about tefillah, and then we go into Rosh Hashanah where we, guess what we do? A lot of tefillah. We do a lot of davening. So what can we learn about davening? So I think this is something really fascinating about Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, is that according to generally halacha, they shouldn't be said without a minyan. Time out, calm down, I don't know. Go ask your rabbi. Go ask your rabbi if you can say it alone at home. I don't know, I'm not a rabbi, no beard, okay? I don't know. But there's definitely a concept that Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim should be said with a minyan. Okay, but we're girls, so minyan not so much. But I think that there is something incredible about tefillah and a minyan. There's something incredible about Jews getting together in a place to daven together. Now, I am the first to confess, Ayelet El Makave is really bad at tefillah. I am really bad at tefillah. I'm not bad at the talking to Hashem one. I can do that. Siddur, I'm not very good at it. I really struggle. I really, it's hard for me. But just because it's hard for me doesn't mean I'm exempt. But what I do think is that when we're in these days where tefillah is just such a huge part of what we're doing, I think it makes sense to try to make an effort to climb that mountain and meet Hashem in prayer. To climb that mountain and meet Hashem in prayer. And I definitely do not mean this as something of like beating yourself up and being like, I'm the worst Russia because I haven't davened in forever. No way. Like, that's first off, again, you're never going to change yourself by hating yourself. But what can we do? Because remember, Moshe goes up the mountain to meet Hashem, and that's when Hashem explains this to him. So what can we do to make our tefillah a destination? Okay, where can we add a destination of tefillah this month?
Okay, whether it's finding a place to go to shul for selichot for one night. First off, go Sephardi. Trust me, you won't regret it. Okay, like, okay, it's amazing. All right, if you can't make it to shul, can you put on a CD and listen to the selichot in the morning? I honestly used to wake my kids up with like it's such a bop. I'm like, you know, like like we've sinned before to wake my kids up with that in Elul. Probably should do that tomorrow. Like, can you put the CD on? Can you get the words of tefillah coursing through your mind and coursing through your heart and coursing through your body? Okay. Can this year you save up the money and pay for a spot in shul? Get yourself a chair. It doesn't mean you have to use it every single time, but pay the money so that you have somewhere to sit, so that on Rosh Hashanah morning, your Yitzhak's not going to be like, well, you won't even have anywhere to sit. Buy a chair at shul. Okay. Maybe it's if you can't go to shul because you're at a different stage in life, can you find a place in your house that becomes your tefillah spot? Just for right now. My tefillah spot is my little porch next to my kitchen. It is where I davened for most of the Hagim for the past 11 years because I've had small children at home. I couldn't go to shul. So mommy would go outside, you'd throw nosh at the kids, and mommy would go outside and I would daven on the porch. And I have had some incredible tefillot on my porch because that is my space for davening. Last year, actually, my kids were old enough when we were at Neve, so I went to shul for like the first time in, I don't know, really long time. And I started crying because it was so beautiful and it was so meaningful. And I also appreciated being there. Like, it was a special moment. Can you find a shul this year that you're going to go daven at that's really good? Okay, that's really good. Can you find a friend that you're going to go daven with? Can you make a deal? One of my daughters had a friend and they went and they davened all of Yom Kippur together. It's so impressive. And they went together because like it helps to have a little friend. Okay. Maybe it means this year you buy yourself a new machzor. Okay. You buy yourself a beautiful machzor. Okay. You put the money in, you invest, and you buy a machzor that's just like breathtakingly stunning. Or it has a lot of commentaries. Or you finally got one with transliteration because you don't know what's going on. Let's just call it what it is. Right? Like, what can you do this year to make tefillah a destination that you want to get to? What can you do to make it more beautiful? Right? Like, I think invest in tefillah. If it's practice reading the Hebrew, sit somebody down and be like, hi, I need to read out loud the Amida because I don't know actually how to say it. And every year I'm just stressing if I'm pronouncing everything wrong. Can I just read it out loud to you once? Okay. Learn its depth, some parts of the tefillot. Bezrat Hashem, 2 weeks from now, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going through the Musaf. Okay. Can you buy yourself some highlighters? Go in there and highlight. Make some notes. Bring your SEM. Find your SEM notebook. It's probably in the back closet. Okay. Like, what can you do this year to make tefillah a destination, a place that you want to get to? Because when Jews daven together, there's a power in it. When Jews come together, when we wrap ourselves in the tefillah of the tzibor, even if I'm not necessarily davening with the tzibor, but I'm joining other Jews, we're all saying the same words. We're all coming together in the same place, in the same day, saying the same words to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when I can tap into that, strength, there's a power in there. It's a power that changes the world, that opens up the gates of Rachamim for not just me, but for all of Am Yisrael. So what can you do this year to give yourself a space for tefillah? I yell at Bli Nader, am going to go to Selichot once this year. I'm going to go once this year to Selichot. Okay. My daughter is going with me, apparently. They're also all still up. Don't ask. Okay. Fantastic. Tefillah. So the last place. No balloons. I don't know what just happened. Okay. Whatever. It's fine. Last place that we see Elul in the Tanakh is the only place that actually says Elul. And that is in Nehemiah. Okay. Nehemiah. Let's give context. Here we go. Nehemiah takes place after the destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash, when we are allowed to come back to the land of Israel by Daryavish. Okay, he allows the Jews to come back and start rebuilding Jerusalem. Specifically, Nehemiah asks Daryavish's permission and comes back to start building Jerusalem. And they start with the retaining wall. So there's like a form of the temple still pretty standing, but they're building or they've rebuilt the temple, but they're rebuilding the retaining wall around the city. Okay. Now in chapter 4, basically Nehemiah rolls up. There's nothing. And these 3 haters, okay, these 3 hater dudes are like trying to do everything in their power to prevent us from rebuilding the walls. Okay. It's Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem are like absolutely doing everything they can. So they literally start physically attacking the workers who are rebuilding the walls. And it says in Nehemiah that the workers are like with a hammer in one hand and a spear in the other, like literally fighting people off while they're trying to rebuild the walls. Okay. So that doesn't work. The haters cannot get us to stop rebuilding the walls by attacking us physically. So then we get to chapter 6. And in chapter 6, the haters start trying to keep us from building the wall psychologically. Here's what happens. Okay, Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem send these messengers to Nehemiah. Okay, and they're like, "Hey, man, do you want to like meet up in the Ono Valley and let's like talk about our difficulties and let's like talk about like why we're not getting along and you and your wall situation?" And Nehemiah's like, "No, I'm not meeting you in a random ambush valley. No." Okay. Specifically, what he says is, "I'm really busy right now. I'm doing really important things. And no, I'm not going to stop it to go to a meeting with you." Okay. So they send him 4 letters inviting him to the valley. Doesn't go. Okay. Then they send him a 5th letter. The 5th letter is like, "Hey, Nehemiah, so we like heard that you're rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem because you're going to declare yourself king over Yehuda and you're like casually starting a rebellion." And Nehemiah's like, "No, I'm not. I'm just building a wall. I have permission, not starting a rebellion. You made that up in your own mind." Okay. So then that doesn't work. So then they get this false prophet to be like, "Nehemiah, I had a prophecy. You're going to get killed. They're going to murder you. So you know what you should do is you should run away and hide yourself in the temple. You should hide yourself in the base of Mikdash." Because that, by the way, is the only thing with doors. They haven't finished the doors of the wall yet. So like the only place with doors is the base of Mikdash. So he's like, "You should go hide yourself in the base of Mikdash because they're trying to assassinate you. I had a nevuah." And Nehemiah's like, "No, you didn't. Because you couldn't have a nevuah that would make me violate the Torah. I'm not a Kohen. I can't go inside the base of Mikdash. What are you talking about?" Okay. And then finally, none of it works. And the wall gets built. The wall is finished in 52 days. And the wall is finished on the 25th of Elul. Yell it! You already said the 25th of Elul this year. I know. It's the same day that the world was created. Okay, so what's the idea here? Why am I telling you this story about this wall? First off, this is the first place that Elul is specifically mentioned by name. And the walls were finished on the 25th of Elul after 52 days. But what I think, now I have not found anyone else who says this. So warning, the following is Devar Torah from Ayelet. I'm sure somebody else says this. I haven't found the source. Please find the source and then text me. Okay, but here's my take, is that the reason it specifically mentions Elul by name is because Nehemiah's battle to build the walls is our 3rd step in order to cancel bad decrees. And that's teshuvah. How do we handle teshuvah? I think we can all agree that the hardest part of teshuvah is never the external factors. It's the internal factors. The hardest part about changing ourselves isn't the stuff that's going on outside of us. It's the stuff that's going on inside of us. It's the voices of our internal enemies, our fear, our people pleasing, our embarrassment. I don't know why a thumbs up just appeared in my head. Okay? Our struggles with technology, our imagination, and of everything, our Yetzer Hara. Our Yetzer Hara. And these internal voices are what make it so hard for us to change. Even me being like, "I'm going to go to Selichot one time." Okay? Even my Yetzer Hara is like, "No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to sleep. There's no way you're going to go to Selichot. Who's going to get the kids up? Blah, 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 blah." Right? Okay. Anything that we try to move forward, there's this attack that comes at us from our Yetzer Hara being like, no, you can't grow. You can't change. Stay where you are. Remember, your Yetzer Hara almost never tells you to do anything wrong. It's much better understood as the voice of the status quo. It is the voice of your comfort zone. And remember, ladies in Elul, we don't want to be comfortable. We want to get to menucha. We want to get to accomplishment. We want to get to that feeling of growth. So how do we defeat our Yetzer? How do we build up the wall? How do we make the change? How do we create a place that Hashem wants to dwell, that we want to be in? How do we change? I think we should steal from Nehemiah's playbook. So what does he first say when the haters come at him and they're like, come down and let us ambush you in this valley? He says, sorry, I'm really busy. I'm just like so busy right now. Specifically, the lashon he uses is he says, wait, hold on. Sorry, it's the wrong one. Just a second. And he says, Melacha gedola ani oseh. ולא אוכל לרדת. למה תשפט את המלאכה כאשר ירפא וירדת עליכם? He says, I'm doing something really important. מלאכה גדולה אני עושה. I'm doing a really important work over here, and I really just can't come right now. So I think this is fascinating because I think we're all really busy. I'm really busy. I'm like really busy. Like, I think we're all really busy, right? Somebody asks you to do something. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy, right? How are you? Oh, I'm so busy. So you're busy for all kinds of things. Can you be busy for your Yetzer? When your Yetzer's like, I don't think you can stop and be like, I'm so busy to listen to you right now. Like, shh, mommy's over here being good. Mommy's over here being herself. Mommy's over here. I'm so busy for you. I'm like doing something important. Like, I'm so sorry, fear. I'm like really busy right now. Like, I'm really busy for people pleasing. Like, oh, what are people going to say? I don't know. I'm busy. Like, I'm doing something really important and I really don't have time to worry about what other people are going to think. I really don't have time to worry about what are the possible outcomes of I'm busy. Like, I'm in the middle of doing something really important. See your growth as something important. See your changes and your progress as something important, and you're busy. You're too busy to listen to little hater voices. Number 2. What does he do? They're like, we heard you're rebelling and you're like going to be a king over Yehuda. And he's like, no, that's not true. And you made that up. Push back against the lies. Your Yetzer Hara doesn't 100% lie to you, but it tells you the truth in very creative ways. Push back against the lies. That's not true. Everyone's going to think if you do that, you're like for me, Franny. That's not true. Most people don't think about you half as much as you do. Like, people don't care. Like, oh my gosh, if you like go and like give of your time, people are gonna like always take advantage. No, that's not true. Like, yes, you need to have healthy boundaries, but that's not true. Your Yetzer Hara will say things to you in your head. If I go to therapy, I'll have the worst therapist ever. That's not true. Maybe you'll have the best therapist ever. I don't know. If I break up with Jeremy, you know I got a Jeremy reference in here. Okay. If I break up with Jeremy, no one will ever love me again. Girl, that's not true. Chaim is out here waiting for you to dump Jeremy. Okay. Like, that's not true. Your Yetzer Hara is telling you lies. Not lies, but like very convenient truths. Like, it's not true. Say out loud what you're saying in your head, and then be like, that's not true. You made that up. Okay, so number 1, be too busy. Number 2, okay, now I get how I made it. Got it. Number 1, and now it won't come back. Great, I'm doing great. Number 1, be too busy. Number 2, push back against the lies that you tell yourself. Push back at the lies that you tell yourself. Number 3, okay, when he comes and they're like, you should run and you should hide in the temple, you should hide in the base of Mikdash, he literally says, somebody like me is going to run. A person like me would flee. Believe in yourself. You are a beautiful creation of Kadosh Baruch Hu. Girl, you don't run. You don't back down from a fight. Okay? There's nothing that can scare you. You are strong and you are powerful and you are descended from some mighty ladies. A person like you doesn't run. A person like me, I don't run. I don't run from hard. And in fact, look back in your life at all of the hard things you've done and you didn't run away. You've done really hard things. You're here today because you've been able to do really hard things. And you're here today because ladies before you in your line did really hard things. We don't scare easily. We don't run. Your Yetzer Hara comes and tells you you can't do this. You're not gonna make it. I don't back down from a challenge. Like it's, I don't know, if you need your inspirational music, like this is my fight song, take back my life song, right? Okay, like whatever works for you. Okay, like that was that Katy Perry song, Roar, right? You're gonna hear me roar, roar, whatever it is. Okay, like the Maccabees version. I don't know if they make a Maccabees version, but like the idea is you don't back down. You don't back down from a fight. You're in this for one life, and so therefore you won't run. A person like you don't run away. Okay? Hashem's command is the final word. That was Nehemiah's whole take. He's like, I'm not going to go in the temple. I'm not a Kohen. Like, Hashem doesn't let. At the end of the day, when your Yetzer Hara comes to try to convince you and convince you and convince you, at the end of the day, Hashem doesn't let. That's Hashem's word is the final thing. That's the emes of the world. This is it. I can't because Hashem doesn't let. There's got to be a final stop that no matter, like, Hashem doesn't let. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay? And the last tip that we can take from Nehemiah is build those walls as fast as you can. Get it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get it up. Okay? Get those boundaries. Make those changes. Because here's the thing, guys, is when you make those changes on the inside and you change your identity as like, I am no longer a person who. Now be careful because we don't want to grow too fast. Okay? We don't want to grow too fast. We want to grow slow. We want to grow healthy. But we still want to move. We want to move things forward, okay? It's a balance between running and walking, okay? But at the end of the day, move quickly and set up a new identity of I am not a person who does that, okay? I quit smoking. Yay, go me. Okay, I quit smoking, and you know how I quit smoking? I stopped smoking, and I stopped identifying myself as a smoker. I don't smoke. Not I've quit smoking or haven't smoked in 6 days or whatever. Like you have to change it. I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. It's not who I am. Changing the way that you see yourself, get those walls up, get those boundaries in place, get that definition. And what Rav Dessler tells us is eventually the battlefield will move. You won't be fighting these battles every day of your life. Look back at some of the other growth you've done, right? You're not still fighting the battles you were fighting 5 years ago. You're fighting different battles because eventually the battlefield will move. So move quickly. So how do we defeat the internal voices? Be too busy to listen. Push back against the lies. A person like me would flee. Believe in yourself. You are so incredibly strong. You don't run from a fight. Hashem's command, at the end of the day, that's the final word. There's no more talking here. Line in the sand. And get those walls up, get those boundaries in place, change that identity and the way you see yourself. That's how tshuva can go forward. And I think that's like something that the Torah was hinting to us, is saying, this is Elul, guys. This is Elul. That's how you get those walls up. That's how you change that reality. That's how you do that teshuva, is you never let the internal battle stop you. You keep going and you keep fighting. So what have we seen? We've seen tzedakah, be giving this month. Find a place to go give. We've seen tefillah. Find a place to invest in your tefillah, to find a place and a space for your tefillah. How can you do something physically to enhance your tefillah this year? Okay. And number 3 is when you're looking at tshuva, be aware of the inner battle first and don't beat yourself up. Like we have to make a kabbalot. Guys, you need little baby like goals because otherwise, like, what are we doing? Right? You need little baby goals. But remember that the battle up here, that's going to be the worst work. That's going to be really hard. Really, really hard. So let's take some tips to fight that internal battle so that we keep moving forward. Because what's the goal here is to get to that menucha. To get to Rosh Hashanah with this feeling of, oh, I Eluled so hard this year. I did so much. And you know why I did so much? Because I have so much potential. Because Hashem created this incredible person with all of these good things, and some other stuff that I got to work on. And I created a world this year. I took every minute out of Elul and I wrung it out. I became more giving. I became more patient. I created a space for tefillah. I made some goals and I accomplished them. I got up for selichot. Like I really wrung Elul out. It's not about being like a perfect person or always inspired. It's about doing what you can where you can. It's about taking little baby steps. It's about taking the potential and creating. And remember, Hashem is up there cheering us on. Ani v'dodi v'dodi li. You cannot have an Elul shir if you don't mention that, okay? I think it's actually written somewhere. It's like a law, okay? Ani l'dodi v'dodi li. I reach out for God and Hashem reaches back. King is in the field, but I'm stuck in traffic. Good thing Hashem is actually everywhere. Hashem isn't just waiting for us in a field. He's right here with us in Teaneck and in Jersey and but they're the same place. Okay, in New York and in Lakewood and in LA and in UK and in Jerusalem. Hashem is everywhere. We don't have to get out to a field. We just have to connect deep with when we are. And this is the last thing I'll tell you, is it says in Parak Kaf Zayin, which we add to Tefillah this month, it says, Ko amar libi v'kshuat panai, hanecha Hashem evakesh. Thus says my heart, seek my face. Your face, Hashem, I will seek. So that doesn't make sense, because it says, Ko amar libi v'kshuat panai. Seek. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, wow, that was cool. V'kshuat panai, seek my face. And then we say back to my heart, your face, Hashem, I will seek. Why? Because the voice of Hashem is within your own heart. The voice of Hashem is within your own heart. Hashem is as close as the beat of your heart. You don't have to get out to a field, I promise you. He's right here with you. But start making the steps. It always starts, ani ledodi. Start doing those steps. Start reaching out and make this the most amazing Elul ever. Because it's Elul just for the rest of us. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And now
so
it doesn't work.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want to say hi to my daughter? Look how cute she is.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know why it's not working.
Thank you, Ayala.
I didn't have any.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So good. Thank you.
Oh,